Eli adjusted the straps on his backpack as he stepped carefully over the twisting roots of the Andara forest. The air smelled sweet and earthy, mixed with the faint tang of glowing pollen that floated gently around him. He had landed on this distant planet a week ago, sent by the Earth Exploration Corps to catalog alien plants and record unusual ecosystems. So far, the Andara system had been both beautiful and dangerous. Some plants were harmless, glowing softly like tiny lanterns, while others emitted faint pulses of energy that could burn bare skin. Eli was careful. Every step he took was measured. He admired the forest in awe, noting how the plants moved as if aware of his presence. Their translucent leaves shimmered like liquid crystal, and delicate vines twisted in patterns that seemed almost deliberate. The forest was alive in a way he had never seen, and he carried a small scanner to help him document everything without touching it. Suddenly, a small voice cut through the calm of the forest. "Human, please, help, my mom, stuck, trap." Eli froze. His heart raced. He wasn't expecting to encounter life forms other than the plants, and certainly not intelligent ones that could speak, or try to speak, in broken common, the universal language most explorers used. He scanned the area carefully, gripping the handle of his portable scanner like a weapon. From behind a glowing fern, a small figure stumbled into view. It was no taller than a child on Earth. Its skin shimmered faintly, changing color from soft blue to lavender with every quick movement. Two large eyes, luminous and filled with fear, stared at him. Its limbs were thin but agile, and tiny wings flickered at its back, too small for flight but quivering as if trying. My mom! Human, please!" the little alien cried, its voice trembling like a fragile wind chime. Eli knelt down slowly, trying to appear calm. Okay, I hear you. Where is she? What happened?" he asked gently, hoping to calm the frightened creature. The alien hesitated, then took a step closer. Its large eyes brimmed with tears. "Trap. She cannot move. Poachers. Bad. She hurt. Human. Help." Eli felt a surge of determination. Despite being thousands of light years from home, he recognized the same fear and helplessness he had seen in children on Earth. The instinct to help was immediate. "Okay," he said softly, holding out a hand. "My name is Eli. I will help her. Can you show me the way?" The small creature's face lit up with hope. I am Lero. Yes, follow me." Lero turned and started running between the trees. Eli followed, moving carefully through the dense undergrowth. He noticed that Lero didn't make a sound except for occasional squeaks of distress when he tripped over roots. Despite his small size, Lero seemed very fast and aware of every danger in the forest. As they ran, Lero began to speak in broken sentences, pointing toward landmarks. "Big tree, point, near, rocks, trap, mama." Eli nodded, understanding that Lero's memory and senses were guiding them. It was strange and wonderful to see how different life forms experienced the world. Lero seemed connected to the forest in a way humans could only imagine. Suddenly, a low hum filled the air. Eli stopped and motioned for Lero to do the same. "Do you hear that?" he whispered. Lero nodded, trembling. "Bad. Poachers. Here. Yes." The hum grew louder. Eli adjusted his scanner, focusing on the energy reading. The device beeped rapidly. The pattern was unfamiliar, a faint, pulsing force field, almost invisible to the naked eye. Eli realized immediately. This was a trap. Not a natural hazard, but something built to hold someone captive. Lero's small hand trembled against Eli's arm. "Mom, inside. Cannot move. Hurt." Eli swallowed and studied the readings. The trap seemed to be powered by a small energy core, unlike any technology he had seen. It pulsed rhythmically, and touching it would likely trigger alarms or worse. He knew he had to think carefully. One wrong move could harm Lero's mother, or them both. "Okay," Eli said, kneeling to Lero's level. "We will get her out, but we must be smart. You stay close to me and do exactly as I say." Lero nodded vigorously, and Eli set to work. He took out a small toolkit from his pack. The kit was meant for delicate repairs of his exploration equipment, but he could use it to interact carefully with alien technology. He examined the readings and mapped the energy pulse in his mind. "You know your mom," he said, trying to keep Lero calm. "How strong is she? Can she move at all inside the trap?" "She cannot move. She very strong, but trap. Cannot move. Human, please." Lero's voice shook with desperation. Eli's heart ached. Humans had always prided themselves on courage and ingenuity. Now was the time to prove it. "Stay here," Eli said. "I need to see the trap." He followed Lero through a narrow path, using the scanner to detect energy barriers. The forest opened up to a small clearing, and Eli froze in shock. Suspended in the center of the clearing by a shimmering energy field was a larger alien figure. She glowed faintly, her skin a deeper shade of blue than Lero's, and her eyes reflected both intelligence and distress. Her arms were extended outward, caught in invisible restraints. She looked like she was trying to breathe in the strange atmosphere but was limited by the trap. Eli studied the field. It was a cage of light and force, humming softly with energy. Thin wires extended from small devices buried in the ground, anchoring the trap. He crouched and began taking notes. He had to figure out how to disable it without triggering alarms. Lero ran to his mother's side and reached through the glowing bars, though his hand passed harmlessly through them. "Mama, human, help!" Lero cried. Mara, the trapped mother, looked at Eli with eyes full of hope. She whispered something Eli could barely hear. "Thank you, human. Please, save him." Eli nodded. "I will, I promise." He studied the trap carefully. It seemed designed to detect movement, energy signatures, and even heat. A direct attack would be dangerous. Eli examined the surroundings and realized the poachers had underestimated one thing: humans. "They don't know how clever humans can be," he murmured to himself. Eli moved slowly, pulling out small reflective devices and sensors. He placed them at key points to monitor the energy pulses. He also collected some vines from nearby plants, testing their strength. Then, with careful hands, he began to fashion a diversion, something that would distract the energy field long enough for him to reach Mara safely. Lero watched, wide-eyed. "Human, smart, clever," he whispered. Eli smiled faintly. "Thanks, but we need more than cleverness. We need courage, too." The sun, or what passed for a sun in this alien system, was beginning to set, casting long, twisting shadows across the clearing. Eli worked quickly, aware that the poachers could return at any moment. He combined his human tools with Lero's knowledge, using the little alien's insights into energy patterns. Together, they formed a plan. "You stay close," Eli said. "When I say, we move together. Understand?" Lero nodded eagerly. Eli took a deep breath and activated his devices. The energy field flickered slightly. Encouraged, he adjusted the settings and prepared to test a small section of the trap. The light pulsed, and a small section softened, just enough to allow a hand through. "It's working," Eli whispered. Lero clapped his tiny hands quietly. "Yes, human, working." Eli looked at Mara. She seemed to understand the plan, her eyes filled with trust. Trust, such a small thing, but it gave him strength. He had always believed humans were capable of great things, but now he truly felt it. Courage, intelligence, and heart, all were necessary. Suddenly, a rustling noise came from the forest edge. Eli froze. A shadow moved through the trees, something large, mechanical, and not part of the natural forest. The poachers had returned, perhaps tracking Lero. Eli's heart pounded. He had to act fast. "Stay down," Eli whispered to Lero. The little alien flattened against the ground, shaking but silent. Eli activated a reflective device, sending a pulse of light and energy to distract the approaching enemy. The shadow paused, confused. Eli used the opportunity to move closer to the trap, adjusting his tools and preparing to free Mara. The task ahead would be dangerous, but Eli felt a deep certainty. Humans had faced impossible odds before. They had survived, explored, and invented in ways no other species could. He would not fail. And in that moment, watching a small alien child pleading for his mother, Eli knew the truth of it. Courage and heart could reach farther than technology, farther than fear, and even farther than the stars. The forest grew darker as Eli and Lero moved cautiously through the dense undergrowth. The glow from the alien plants cast strange, wavering shadows that seemed alive. Every step made a faint rustle in the foliage, and Eli could feel the weight of the unseen eyes that followed them. "Human, they watch," Lero whispered, his small body pressed against Eli's side. Eli nodded without speaking. He had noticed subtle movements, slight changes in the forest energy, signs of patrol drones or perhaps alien trackers. The poachers were clever, but humans had something they could never predict: intuition and quick thinking. "Stay close," Eli murmured, "and no sudden moves." Lero nodded, his large eyes wide with fear and trust. Despite his size, the little alien moved nimbly, leaping over roots and dodging vines as if he were born in this forest. Eli, though bigger and slower, relied on careful observation, making use of every tree, shadow, and patch of ground that offered cover. After a few minutes, they arrived at a narrow canyon. The walls were steep and covered in luminous moss that flickered like stars in the dark. At the bottom, Eli could see faint pulses of blue light, the signs of energy barriers that protected the poacher's lair. "They trap many things here," Lero whispered, trembling. Eli crouched to examine the area. The energy barriers were invisible until his scanner detected them, and even then, their pattern was complex. Any wrong step could trigger alarms, or worse, activate defensive systems. "We need a plan," Eli said quietly. He took a deep breath, calming his racing thoughts. "I think we can bypass these barriers if we move slowly and watch the pattern of the pulses. It's like a rhythm. You follow me step by step, and we'll get through safely." Lero nodded. "Yes, human, lead." The two moved carefully, Eli pointing out safe paths and Lero helping by spotting weaknesses in the barriers. Every step was tense, every sound amplified in the silence of the canyon. Eli could see small, hovering drones patrolling above them, their metallic bodies gleaming faintly. Drones, watch, but not see, too small," Lero whispered. Eli smiled faintly. "Exactly. That's our advantage. They assume no one can think like a human." After what felt like hours, they reached the edge of the poachers' camp. The area was a mix of natural forest and alien machinery. Small buildings of strange materials hummed with energy, and wires stretched across the ground like a spider's web. The trap that held Mara was near the center, surrounded by these devices. Eli crouched behind a thick tree. "We need to be smart," he whispered. "I think we can use the environment against them." Lero tilted his head. "How human?" Eli pointed to the glowing moss. "These plants are sensitive to energy. If we disturb them just right, we can create shadows and distractions that confuse their sensors." Lero's eyes lit up. "Yes, trick, humans, clever." Together they began setting small traps. Eli carefully plucked glowing vines and attached them to sticks and branches, creating small swinging shadows that mimicked movement. He also used reflective leaves to send tiny beams of light across the barriers, temporarily blinding the sensors. Lero helped by signaling when the drone's attention shifted, his small voice whispering instructions. Now. Move. Now. Safe. Eli moved cautiously toward the trap. The closer they got, the more intricate the energy field became. He could see Mara suspended, her eyes following their movements. She emitted a soft glow, clearly weakened by the trap, but still radiating calm and trust. Human, brave, Lero whispered. Proud. Eli crouched beside Lero, inspecting the trap. Thin wires anchored the energy field to small devices buried in the ground. It was delicate yet powerful, designed to hold even strong aliens without risk of escape. Eli knew that a direct attack would fail. They needed precision, patience, and distraction. We'll start with the wires, Eli said quietly. I can disable them one by one, slowly, while you create distractions. Lero nodded, understanding instinctively. He leapt to a glowing moss cluster and began flicking it carefully, creating small flashes of light that drew the drone's attention. The movement made tiny shadows that danced across the forest floor. Eli worked steadily. Using his tools, he approached the first anchor. The wire vibrated faintly, but his precise movements allowed him to cut through the energy core connection without triggering the alarm. A faint hum of energy shifted, and he froze for a moment, heart pounding. Nothing happened. Success. Good. Human. Good. Lero whispered excitedly. Step by step, they disabled several anchors. Each time, Eli's human intuition guided him past traps the poachers did not even know existed. Lero continued creating distractions, his small form darting through the shadows, clever and fearless despite his size. Then, as Eli approached the final anchor, a loud mechanical hiss echoed through the clearing. A drone had detected their presence and moved directly toward them. Eli's heart raced. He gestured to Lero. Do the diversion now, he whispered. Lero nodded. He leapt onto a nearby rock and triggered a small reflective device Eli had prepared earlier. A beam of light shot across the clearing, bouncing between mirrors and glowing leaves. The drone's sensors swiveled, confused by the unpredictable patterns. It hovered uncertainly, giving Eli the opening he needed. Eli moved with lightning speed, cutting the final anchor wire. The energy field flickered and dimmed, Mara's body lowering gently to the ground as the trap deactivated. She let out a sigh of relief, her glow brightening as she regained movement. Mara! Lero shouted, rushing forward to hug his mother. Eli smiled, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. They had done it. But the moment of relief was short-lived. The drones were regaining focus, and the poachers would surely notice the disturbance. Stay together, Eli whispered. We need to move, now. Mara, though weakened, lifted herself carefully, holding Lero close. Eli guided them through the forest, retracing their steps while avoiding the returning patrols. He used every skill he had learned in exploration and survival, combining his knowledge of human tactics with the Talon understanding of their forest. Human, strong, smart, Lero said between gasps as they ran. Eli felt a surge of pride. Humans were not only brave but adaptable. They could think quickly, use their environment, and protect those who could not protect themselves. It was this combination of intelligence, courage, and heart that set humans apart in the galaxy. After what felt like hours, they reached a natural ridge that overlooked a safe area of the forest. The poachers' camp was barely visible now, a flickering glow in the distance. Eli crouched, letting Mara and Lero catch their breath. You're safe. For now, he said. But we need to keep moving until we're far from their reach. Mara looked at him with gratitude that transcended words. Her eyes, full of alien light, seemed to say what her voice could not. Lero clutched Eli's arm, whispering, "Human, hero, my friend." Eli smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest. He had never imagined that in the far reaches of space, so far from Earth, he would find friends, trust, and a sense of purpose in a small alien child and his mother. As night fell over the Andara forest, Eli led them through hidden paths and shadowed trails, always alert, always thinking. He knew the poachers would not give up easily, and their technology was advanced. But he also knew this: humans could adapt, plan, and act with courage even against impossible odds. And tonight, he would prove it once again. The night air in the Andara forest was cool and heavy with mist. Eli led Lero and Mara carefully through twisting paths, keeping low and moving silently. Every sound of snapping twig or rustling leaf seemed amplified in the quiet, and he knew the poachers' drones could be searching for them at any moment. Lero stayed close to his mother, occasionally glancing at Eli with worry in his large eyes. "Human poachers. Maybe follow?" he whispered. Eli shook his head slowly. "Not yet, but we must be ready. They will come if they notice their trap is destroyed." "We need to get to a safe place before dawn." Mara, still weak from being trapped, leaned on Eli's shoulder for support. Her glow was faint but steady now, a sign she was recovering. Despite her exhaustion, she whispered softly in her language, words Eli could not fully understand, but her meaning was clear: gratitude and trust. The forest opened into a narrow valley, where Eli noticed remnants of old structures. They looked abandoned, possibly left by explorers or ancient inhabitants. It would be the perfect place to rest briefly and plan the next move. "Here," Eli said, pointing to a natural cave-like formation. "We can rest here a little. Keep quiet, stay close." Lero nodded and clutched Eli's arm tightly. Mara followed slowly, careful not to stumble. Eli scanned the area with his portable scanner. Nothing unusual appeared, no hidden traps, no drones nearby. He set it down and began unpacking some small rations and water. As they rested, Eli thought about the poachers. He had studied their behavior from the small glimpses during the trap mission. They were clever, but overconfident. They believed the forest was too dangerous for outsiders, assuming only aliens or their own teams could navigate it. That was their mistake. "We need to plan," Eli whispered to Mara and Lero. "The trap is gone, but the poachers will try to get it back. We can't let them harm anyone else, or you." Mara's eyes glowed softly, and she nodded in understanding. Lero bounced slightly in agreement. Despite the language barrier, Eli felt the bond growing stronger among them. After a short rest, Eli led them further. He used small hand signals and whispers to direct Lero, who guided him through hidden paths only the Talin knew. The poachers' camp lay in a rough triangular area with sensors, small buildings, and hovering drones protecting it. Eli calculated that a direct confrontation would be risky, but there was no choice. They had to go back to ensure Mara's safety and prevent the poachers from recovering their trap technology. As they approached the edge of the clearing, Eli crouched behind a large rock. He could see two drones patrolling, moving in synchronized patterns. Their metallic surfaces reflected the dim light of the forest, and their mechanical eyes scanned every corner. "Human, too many, maybe, cannot fight?" Lero whispered, trembling. Eli shook his head slowly. "No, we won't fight them directly. We'll use our brains. That's what humans do best." He began setting small diversions, reflective panels to bounce light, small mechanical devices to create sound, and broken branches to mimic footsteps. The drones reacted to each distraction, turning and hovering in confusion. Lero's eyes widened. "Human, Clever. Yes, yes. Eli smiled faintly. It's not just cleverness, Lero. It's patience. Watch, learn, and wait for the right moment. That's how humans survive against danger. Once the drones were distracted, Eli crawled toward the trap area. Mara followed carefully, using Lero as a guide. The small alien child seemed fearless now, darting quietly through shadows, signaling when to move and when to stay. The final part of the trap area contained a large device that controlled the energy barriers. Eli realized this was the core of the poacher's operation. Destroying it would prevent further traps from being set in this area. But it was heavily guarded. Drones circled overhead, and faint energy pulses emanated from the device. Eli studied the energy pattern carefully. He noted that the pulses followed a rhythm, creating a small window between cycles where he could safely approach. He whispered instructions to Lero and Mara. When the pulse dims, we move. Fast, but carefully. The three waited, watching the rhythm of the energy pulses. Lero clutched Eli's hand tightly, and Mara's glow dimmed slightly, a sign of her nervousness. Eli took a deep breath, reminding himself that courage often came with fear. It was the choice to act, despite it, that mattered. The pulse dimmed. Eli gave a slight nod. Lero signaled now, and they moved together. Eli crawled toward the device, carefully avoiding sensors, while Mara and Lero stayed behind a large rock, hidden from view. Eli reached the device and examined it. It was complex, but his human ingenuity kicked in. Using a combination of small tools and careful observation, he disabled key circuits without triggering alarms. Sparks flew faintly, but nothing else happened. The energy barriers flickered, signaling success. Mara's body relaxed slightly, her glow becoming steadier. Eli felt a surge of triumph. They had done it. But then the ground shook slightly. A warning. From the shadows, figures emerged, the poachers themselves. Tall, armored, and clearly prepared for conflict, they had realized their device was being tampered with. Eli froze for a moment. He was outnumbered, but he did not panic. Human history was filled with stories of ordinary people using cleverness to overcome impossible odds. He would do the same. Using a reflective panel, Eli bounced light toward the poacher's eyes, momentarily blinding them. He grabbed a small portable smoke device from his pack and activated it. Thick white smoke filled the clearing, reducing visibility. He signaled Mara and Lero. "Follow me. Stay close." Through the smoke, Eli moved quickly, using shadows and trees as cover. The poachers stumbled, trying to regain control of the situation. Their drones hovered uncertainly, unable to navigate the smoke-filled clearing. Lero ran beside Eli, guiding Mara. The little alien's fear was gone now, replaced by focus and trust. Eli admired the child's courage. Humans and aliens could work together, he realized, combining strengths to overcome even the deadliest challenges. They reached a natural ridge that overlooked a river valley. Eli paused, scanning the forest. No drones, no poachers in immediate pursuit. The valley below was filled with dense mist, perfect for hiding their escape. "Keep moving," Eli whispered. "We're not safe yet." The three moved carefully down the slope, making their way toward the misty valley. Eli noticed small alien creatures watching them curiously but posed no threat. He realized that this forest, though dangerous, could be their ally if they used it wisely. As they progressed, Eli explained quietly to Lero and Mara. "Humans are strong, yes, but strength alone doesn't win battles. Cleverness, courage, and thinking together, that's how we survive. And you're both very brave, too." Mara's glow brightened, and Lero's eyes sparkled with admiration. Eli felt a warmth in his chest, a human feeling he had experienced many times on Earth: pride, hope, and the joy of protecting life. Suddenly, a faint hum echoed from the valley below. Eli froze, listening carefully. Another patrol? Or perhaps a distant drone? He signaled the others to stop. "They're close. We must move quietly," he whispered. "But the valley can hide us. Stay behind me." Carefully, they slipped into the mist. The valley floor was covered in soft, thick moss, muffling their footsteps. Trees and alien plants created natural cover. Eli used his scanner to detect any energy signatures, making sure they avoided detection. Hours seemed to pass. The valley stretched endlessly, but Eli's focus never wavered. He guided Mara and Lero with patience and precision. Eventually, they reached a high cliff overlooking a river. The water below was calm, reflecting the faint glow of the alien moon. "This is good," Eli whispered. "From here, we can rest safely. No one will find us until daylight." Mara sat carefully, holding Lero close. Her glow was steady, her breathing easier now. Lero looked up at Eli. "Human, hero, my mom, safe. Thanks." Eli smiled, feeling the weight of the night's events. Humans were capable of extraordinary courage, but it was more than bravery. It was empathy, quick thinking, and determination that made them special. He sat down beside them, looking at the glowing forest beyond the cliff. Stars twinkled above, distant and infinite. He knew that the galaxy was full of dangers and wonders alike, but he also knew this: no matter how dark or dangerous the situation, humans could make a difference, and tonight, he had proven it. The first light of the Andara sun filtered through the mist, painting the forest in soft shades of blue and gold. Eli stretched, feeling the aches from the long night of running and planning. Beside him, Mara and Lero had settled near the cliff's edge, gazing down at the valley below. The calm river reflected the morning light, and the air was sweet with alien blossoms. Eli knew the poachers were likely regrouping somewhere in the forest, but for now, they had safety. He allowed himself a brief moment of relief, though he remained alert. Survival in an alien world required constant awareness. "Mara, Lero, we need to get farther," Eli said softly. "The poachers may try to follow, and we can't risk another trap." Mara nodded, understanding without words. Her glow pulsed gently, showing her strength returning. Lero bounced slightly in excitement, but stayed close. He had learned something important. Humans were not only clever, but also brave in ways that inspired others. Eli led them through a hidden path, careful to avoid any signs of pursuit. Along the way, he marveled at the forest's strange beauty. Giant ferns swayed in unseen winds. Flowers opened and closed in rhythm with the sunlight, and small creatures with iridescent wings flitted through the air. For all its dangers, this planet had wonders that no human had ever seen before. They arrived at a wider clearing, where Mara gestured for them to stop. Her glow brightened, and she extended her arms, as if sensing something in the forest. Eli watched closely, noting how the Talon communicated not only with words, but with energy and light. Safe here. Humans. Good, Mara whispered. Lero ran forward and hugged his mother tightly. Eli smiled. "We're not out of danger completely, but you're safe for now. That's what matters." The Talon forest was dense, but Eli had learned its patterns. He knew how to move quietly, how to use shadows, and how to combine human ingenuity with the instincts of his alien friends. Together, they made a strong team. As they moved forward, Lero began explaining in broken common the family and community structure of the Talon. Eli listened, fascinated. The Talon valued family bonds, intelligence, and trust. Humans had similar values, he realized, which made their connection deeper and easier. Human, you, hero, clever, brave, Lero said repeatedly, his voice filled with admiration. Eli felt a warmth in his chest. Humans had always taken pride in their courage, but here, so far from home, he understood it differently. Courage was not just facing danger. It was protecting others, thinking quickly, and staying calm when everything seemed impossible. They continued walking until the forest opened into a wide river valley. Eli noticed something in the distance, signs of human activity, small markers and old equipment left by earlier explorers. He realized they could use this area to create a barrier against the poachers. With simple tools and materials, he could set up signals and traps to mislead anyone who tried to follow. Human... what plan? Lero asked. Eli smiled faintly. We make them think we went another way. They will waste time looking in the wrong place. Humans are good at thinking ahead. He worked quickly, setting up small markers and simple alarms, using reflective leaves and sticks. Lero helped, fascinated by the human approach to problem-solving. Mara watched, glowing softly, trusting Eli completely. By midday, they had reached a high plateau overlooking the river valley. From here, they could see miles of forest, hills, and distant mountains. Eli knew that if they continued carefully, they could reach the Talon settlement safely. Suddenly, a low hum echoed from the valley below. Eli froze. His scanner beeped faintly. He realized that some poachers were still nearby, likely trying to regroup after their previous failures. They, maybe, still follow? Lero whispered. Eli shook his head. Not for long. We're smart and we have time. Humans plan, humans adapt, humans survive. That's what makes us strong. He led Mara and Lero down a narrow path, using the high ground for cover. The poachers' drones moved in the distance but were distracted by the markers and diversions Eli had set earlier. Step by step, they moved closer to the settlement. Finally, after hours of careful travel, they arrived at the edge of a hidden valley. The Talon community was nestled here, in harmony with the forest. Small, glowing dwellings rose from the ground, connected by vines and illuminated paths. Aliens of various sizes moved about, tending to plants, communicating with gentle pulses of light, and watching the newcomers cautiously. Mara's glow brightened even more. Home. Safe, she whispered, her voice filled with relief. Lero ran ahead, calling out excitedly to other young Talon. Eli followed slowly, allowing the mother and child to reunite fully with their community. The Talon elders approached, eyes glowing with curiosity and caution. When Mara explained briefly, the elders' expressions softened into gratitude. One elder, taller and older, approached Eli. His body radiated calm and authority, and his glow pulsed gently. Human, he said slowly. You have shown courage and intelligence beyond expectation. Our family is safe because of your actions. We are grateful. Eli bowed slightly. I only did what anyone should do. Helping those in need is what humans do. And I could not have done it without Lero and Mara guiding me. The elder's glow brightened. Then you are welcome here. Humans and Talon, perhaps our worlds can learn from each other. Eli felt a sense of fulfillment unlike anything he had experienced. Humanity's greatest strength, he realized, was not technology or power. It was heart, courage, and the willingness to act for others. In the far reaches of the galaxy, he had proven it, saving lives and forming bonds across worlds. For the next few days, Eli stayed with the Talon community, learning their ways and teaching a few human techniques. Lero was eager to show him secret paths through the forest, while Mara shared knowledge about energy fields and forest patterns. Together they exchanged wisdom, finding similarities between humans and Talon despite their differences. Eli realized something profound. Humans could inspire trust and cooperation anywhere. Their ability to think, act bravely, and care for others allowed them to connect with even the most alien beings. and in turn, he felt inspired by the Talen's wisdom, family bonds, and connection to their environment. Before leaving, Mara presented Eli with a small crystal. It glowed faintly with Talen energy, pulsing in rhythm with her heart. Gift, trust, friends, human, she said softly. Lero clutched Eli's hand. Friend, always, human, brave. Eli smiled, holding the crystal. I will treasure it, and I will never forget you. Humans and Talen, maybe we are very different, but we can always be friends. As he prepared to leave, the Talen elders gave him a warm farewell. Mara and Lero hugged him tightly. Thank you, human hero, Mara whispered. Eli looked at the glowing forest one last time, feeling a sense of pride and hope. Humanity had proven itself in this distant corner of the galaxy. Courage, intelligence, and empathy could make a difference anywhere, even on an alien world full of danger and mystery. Stepping onto his exploration shuttle, Eli looked back at the Talen settlement, their lights shimmering like stars on the forest floor. He knew that this experience would stay with him forever. Humans had not only saved lives but also built bonds that would last across generations and worlds. As the shuttle rose, Eli gazed out at the forest, feeling its quiet energy and beauty. He realized that humanity's story was not just about survival or conquest. It was about heart, bravery, and the connections they could form, even with beings who looked nothing like them. And somewhere in the forest, Lero and Mara watched him go, their glows bright and full of trust. The small alien child waved, whispering to himself, Human hero, my friend. Eli smiled one last time, knowing that the universe was vast, full of danger, mystery, and wonder. But humans, with their courage and heart, could always shine brightly, no matter how far from home. The forest below faded into the distance, but the bond between human and alien remained, a shining proof that kindness, bravery, and ingenuity could bridge worlds.